My name is Brain of Terror and I'm an NSO Dublin roller derby. In this video I'm going to look at jammers and lead. Here I've already done start new game with the rosters from the previous video. So it's always a good idea to try and get your jammers in before the whistle's called. So I'd say it's Harry Falcon versus Wooden Spoon and Hour. Longer names don't necessarily always rap well. And the jam starts. And let's say that black gets lead. And see now lead is indicated and it's flashing in red. You will note that the scoreboard automatically has put them on their first scoring trip. Because the vast majority of the time when someone gets lead, it's because they either have exited the engagement zone or they are about to exit the engagement zone and complete their initial trip. In the event this is not the case, they got eaten or they got recycled or something, you can override it by doing trip -1. So this means majority of the time you never actually need to do trip +1 when a jammer's lead because, well, it's taken care of for you. You only need to do it for the non-lead jammer. So that's all well and good. Now let's stop the jam. Oh, they got their trip, get some points, and we stop the jam. Now you'll notice the call here hasn't been automatically marked. This is because the jam lasted less than 2 minutes and there was a lead jammer. So once again, the vast majority of time, when this happened, this is because the lead jammer called off the jam. So the scoreboard is smart enough to handle that for you. In the event this wasn't the case, you can unclick call. So as a general guide, the buttons up here are for day-to-day circumstances. The things down here are where you manually need to change something in the paperwork because something was a little unusual. So if we have a call, and actually it was due to injury, so I can press injury, which will correctly mark it on both sides and also remove the call. Another thing that could have happened is that maybe there was a simultaneous call and injury. That would be odd, but sure, you can mark that. Or maybe what happened was the other jammer managed to incorrectly call it, which is usually going to be a penalty, or something else weird might have happened. It was called, but also they had a penalty at the same time, but the officials didn't catch it in the right way. So the weird situations you can kind of all cover like that. Now, so let's go into our next jam. It'd be nice to have some jammers. There we are. So the other case that might happen is you get lead, get some points, and then there's a penalty. So at that point, you have lost lead. And you would mark it as such. And now that's automatically tracked. It's going to be a 2-minute jam. So if we just jump forward time a little, there's your 2-minute jam, got lead and lost it. Another situation that might occur is, let's say we start the jam and we manually advance the trip, meaning that black has completed their initial trip, however they didn't get lead. And lead has not been declared, therefore they have lost the opportunity to get lead. I should re-put in a jammer there, and there. And this is how this is tracked. Another situation where this might occur where the initial trip isn't completed is, let's say white was to remove their helmet cover and lead has not been declared, so in which case you would have to mark down that they lost lead. And the system is also smart enough, similarly, if white jammer does manage to complete their initial trip, it'll mark that, so you only need to worry about this when they don't manage to complete their initial trip. Otherwise, the scoreboard's smart enough to handle this for you. So I'll just stop that jam, which would have been a 2-minute jam. We start the jam. Another thing to be aware of with penalties, so let's say we get lead here, get some points. Now, when a penalty is issued, you use lead. The other thing you can do is that you can, if you have lineup trackers, you can use these as indicators. So if the lineup tracker presses indicates that, hey, this skater has gone to the box into the jammer, it'll automatically remove lead from them. Note, however, sitting in the box happens after the penalty. So I personally don't use these, but you're free to track it. It's the system's smart enough to do it. And you can undo that by hand. You'll also note as well, in the event that there's lead jammer and you haven't put it in, it'll just say lead and flash it. Now you look at Foggy Expert versus Passenger Carriage. So that's the basics of dealing with jammers and lead.